Call the names. Wake the room. Wake the room. Wake the room! Luyu! Rex! Pam Ray! Naomi! Afasiana! Babbler! Monarch Soul! Jojo! Gray eyes! Fill my eyes! Poets assemble. No masks, no manners. Say it plain, or say it broken. Monday night in the garden of enlightenment. Low light lit minds, every line got intent. Clock ticks crooked and the room turns vigilant. Quiet so loud you can hear what the tension meant. Then it slips after midnight, manners get murdered. Nice little masks get cracked by a word or a murmur. Twisted Tuesdays twist truth till it turns on its heel. Clean cut faces go strange when the dark gets real. You can feel that shit, that slick little slip when the grin stays sweet, but the eyes don't sit. Like the room grew ribs, like the walls grew ears, like the hush got hands and it's pulling you near. And the words don't rest, they press. Put a heel on the chest, leave a dent in the breath. Every line like a knock from the back of the brain. Like you came in one shape, you won't leave the same. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown in the soft dome dim. Late night poets, hear the whole thing shift from a whispering the ribs to a line that lifts from the darkened edge of doubt to the pull you can't ignore. We don't just read the night, we make it something more. Say it plain, say it broken. Late night poets, Wednesday breaks, parts in the park, sink down the spine, half halo, half hazard, both hands in the light. In the yard of seduction, walks soft through the smoke, silk on the tongue with the blade in the joke. Books and bards wakes dust in the depth of the shelves. Old ghosts lean out and start naming themselves in a craft and sullen. Not the ache gets a voice, pain stands up straight and makes silence a choice. Then break on through when the dead book gives way, when the masses sink but the pulse says pray. Echoes in the dark, go hunt the fear, that thing when no name starts ringing in your ear. Say it, say it. Fill my eyes with poetry, don't water it down. Let it bite, let it bloom, let it burn through the crowd. Bad company grins like a bruise, dressed smart, and rhythm and rhyme puts a boot through the heart. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown in the soft dome dim. Late night poets, hear the whole thing shift from a whisper in the ribs to a line that lifts from the darkened edge of doubt to the pull you can't ignore. We don't just read the night, we make it something more. Say it plain, say it broken. Late night poets, some come shattered, some come slick. Some speak honey with a blade in it. Some sound velvet, some sound wire. Some walk in low and take the room higher. Some come holy, some come liars. That's the thing! This ain't filler for the dead space, no. This is pulse with a pen, this is blood with a nickel. This is breath to the backbone, ink for the crown. Live mics, live nerves, truth laid bare in the round. This is the beautiful mess, the bruise and the bloom. The line that cuts clean and makes a little room. Late souls, wide eyes, all nerve in the dark. A room full of hearts beating hard through the dark. Wake the room, wake the room. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown in the soft dome dim. slips past polite. We tell the truth. LNP, we love you. Stay frosty.
Hello, world. Happy Monday. You are listening to the Garden of Enlightenment with Luyu Wild Dove and Gray Eyes Smith. The show is brought to you by a group on allpoetry.com called Late Night Poets. We have anthologies available on Amazon under the same moniker, so feel free to check those out and help support these shows. That said, tonight's show is based off of front page picks as well as open poetry. Um, and we're just waiting for Luyu to make her way onto the show. Um, that said, I will post the first link to the show. Oh, hold on, having trouble here. All right, here we go. Okay. All right, there we go. So this first right is by. Oh, I can't even tell.
Zeus.
1 second. Oh, hello.
It's Zeus, gray
Hi,
eyes.
Zeus.
Hmm.
Haiku worn slippers. Worn slippers, a door handle saves me. Deep hole, leaving hiking boots behind. Queen's boots, a butterfly circling around it. Models, shoe heels, the heights that make you even fall. Shoe polish in a rounded box, dark and bright side of the moon. Long boots. What about having a whip too and full?
Hmm.
What did you think, Leah?
Well, I was just reading. It says haiku number one is written just for the purpose of humor. No racial intentions was behind it. I really liked his imagery in each of his stanzas. I find amusing, especially the model shoe heels the heights that make you even fall. This is well written. He writes a lot of haikus, and I really enjoyed reading them. A nice read, Gray, and congratulations on your front page pick, Zeus.
Absolutely, yeah. And welcome to the show, to you, Wild Dove.
Hi, Gray.
I'm glad you could make it. Um, yeah, so I liked it. I mean, you can see all the various footwear expressed throughout the right, and each one having their role. Um, you've got worn slippers, and of course, he slips, and the door handle saves him. And then hiking boots, uh, saving him from a deep hole. Queen boots, a butterfly circling around it. Model shoe heels, heights that make you even fall. Shoe polish in a rounded box, dark and bright, side of the moon. Long boots. What about having a whip too? I thought it was great. Nicely done, Zeus. And congratulations on your front page pick. All right. I need to grab the next poem here.
Say hello to Zach, everybody.
Hello, Zach.
Hey,
Hey, Zach. Welcome,
hey,
welcome.
good to be here, y'all.
Good to have you. Glad you
Thanks.
called in.
Absolutely. Yeah. Alrighty. I'm going to try and find the next link here. Okay, where are we at here? Jody Melton brings us not Miss. Oh, sorry. My links are all messed up again. Do you?
That's okay. Gray,
Uh, yeah.
Phil posted the link.
Okay, great, awesome. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you, Phil. Okay, it's Memories Unraveled Coat, a poem by Malcolm Puss, and she said she's assigned me to read it. So it'll be my pleasure. Memories Unraveled Coat. Within the architecture of broken hearts, empty spaces exist, betrayals and opportunities missed, hollowing, decaying walls, surfaces stripped and trust, scattered like errant dust, windows shuttered and nails shut. Who lives inside the wreckage? Memory lives there, or something that wore memory's coat until the coat unraveled, while hope cooks dwindling meals of what ifs and sleeps restlessly in one small dry corner. The silence of abandonment is a horn screeching through hallways and bedrooms. The walls answer in low groans and something like breath as studs shift and the emptiness becomes alive with loss.
Beautiful read, Lee. Well done. And what did you think, Zach?
In a word, I would call this piece haunting. It seemed to be almost like a lamentation of what could have been, or like a memory. And this memory is housed in like a really decaying place. So these memories that are kind of in this place aren't really fondly kept, and it's very specifically kind of rotten in a way. Like I feel like these memories are just rotting in this house without um like kind of in an unpleasant way, but it's really written in a concrete fashion, and with like all sorts of sounds and sights that I really appreciated, that kind of gave off this like really gloomy atmosphere.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah, no doubt. I really enjoyed the metaphors, and it's a haunting, right? You can feel the despair, the loss, the fear. I really enjoyed the within the architecture of broken hearts, empty spaces exist, betrayals and opportunities missed, hollowing, decaying walls, surfaces stripped and trust scattered like errant dust, windows shuttered and nailed shut. Who lives inside the wreckage? Memory lives there. Yeah, it's definitely a haunting, right? You know, the emotions are palpable and engaging throughout. So nicely done, Malcolm Push. And Luyu Wilder, what do you think?
I want to congratulate Malcolm Puss on her front page pick. You know, this is very haunting. It's deeply sad. I was just looking at the comments, and um, Yorkie Bluff, she says, this is so good. I saw myself in this as I have been uprooted. I am elderly and tend to live on memory and hope to be back where I was once, one day. And this is, just, it's deeply painful to be uprooted and never having to see your home again. Um, it's just deeply sad. It touched me deeply because so many people live with unhappy memories, and especially where she says memory lives there, or something that wore memory's coat until the coat unraveled. And it says, while hope cooks dwindling meals of what ifs and sleeps restlessly in one dry corner, somebody whose hope has been dashed and slowly is something that they're not, how do I say, where you stop believing in hope. That's deeply sad. Unmute Gray.
Hi, sorry, I was fighting my mute button. Yeah, I got kicked out again. Um, anyway, yeah, that was a lovely read and a haunting poem for sure. Um, Zach, we have Victoria Frost bringing us Scapism. If you wouldn't mind reading that, please.
Sure thing.
Thank you.
My love, those words turned to ash in my mouth, leaving an acrid taste on my tongue, making my stomach heave, as if emptying my guts, will empty the memories of you from my body. I gag upon the syllables that once flowed with devotion, honeyed words that now leave bitter fragments, sticking between my teeth and caught upon my tongue as I try to scrape them off. Your name still lingers here in the songs and silence, the late nights that are now spent working like stubborn smoke caught upon velvet drapes, the scent of whiskey and cigarettes growing stale in my lungs. If it not killed me, I'd tear it from my throat, but memories are a parasite, weaving their way into my bones, building nests within my marrow. Even now, I feel it feeding in the beat between my heart, clinging to my days like soot beneath my fingernails, a reminder that even rage cannot burn away the ghost of you. So I am left kneeling here, drowning in songs that once were a language that bridged the gap between decades of colloquialisms, tasting the ruins of those two simple words, my love and poem.
Beautiful. Would you mind reading the author's note, Zach?
Sure. Um, Scaphism was a torture that covered the victim in honey, force fed them milk and honey, and thus attracted insects that would inevitably devour the victim alive. A reminder that the land of milk and honey sometimes has a darker side. Nothing new or recent, just an old memory that surfaced, and the contrast between then and now, a decade later, reminds me just how life and time changes things, how much the context shifts between based on the events of life.
Great. Thank you so much, Zach. And Lou, what did you think of Scapism by Victoria Frost?
Well, I thought this was excellently written because just like being eaten outside, sometimes memories feel like they're eating you outside. She brought, how she said that, oh, my cat's walking all over me. I really liked where she said, if it did not kill me, I'd tear it from my throat. But memories are a parasite weaving their way into my bones, building nests within my marrow. You never lose those memories of somebody that you loved. And even years later, some those memories are still as if they just happened yesterday. I thought this was well written, and congratulations on your front page pick, Victoria Frost.
Absolutely, yeah. Um, I mean, the emotions are palpable. I love the imagery in this. You've got parasites and honey and milk and um, so I don't know if there's milk in there, but um, it's so emotionally palpable. I gag upon the syllables that once flowed with devotion, honeyed words that now leave bitter fragments sticking between my teeth and caught upon my tongue as I try to scrape them off. Your name still lingers here in the songs and silence, the late nights that are now spent working, like stubborn smoke caught on velvet drapes, the scent of whiskey and cigarettes growing stale in my lungs. Yeah, what a heart wrenching, right? It's so intriguingly written that it just hooks the reader from the beginning. Nicely done and a great share. Thank you so much, Victoria Frost. And Zach, you read it. What did you think?
I thought this was an interesting sort of piece to contrast the last one. This is another one about memories, but what we have here is um a bit more painful, I think. These memories are tangible in a sense that they're stinging, and these sensations linger, and there's like a heaviness to these memories, like whiskey and cigarette smell. Um, and most of all, I was struck by how bittersweet this piece was. There was a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of nostalgia, but it was mostly just overwhelmed by this feeling of bitterness. emphasis on like the sweetness that has gone like really just bitter with time and age, and in a sense, it's gone. It feels like corrupted in a sense, and uh, I think that the speaker is distancing themselves by writing this in a way. It felt cathartic to read, honestly.
Oh, absolutely. Fantastic comment, Zach. Thanks so much. You did an excellent read on that. Alrighty. Where are we to next? Fill my eyes. Just refresh. Alright, up next we have Death is Not Cruel. Death is Feminine Tenderness. A poem by Hats. And I will give this a read. Silence between us stretched like a gray sheet, once white, now sweaty. Crawling riot serpent, constricting the chest, tight and heavy, lead on my shoulders. And air between us went still, motionless, nor dust particles dancing. I looked into his eyes. A shadow crossed his face, as if someone turned off the light behind his pupils. In the distance, a magpie screeched so painfully, as if my swallowed sob materialized, while outside the window, the stream splashed against the stones. Water murmured its song, and the willow, bent with grief, soaked up everything. Eyes covered with sorrow cannot see how death embraces with maternal tenderness, as if nursing a toddler, swaying to a cradle, same as a lover worshipping the lover. Towels will survive us, t-shirts too. So many things survive, on which the dust is slowly falling, to which we turned. End poem. Uh, what are your thoughts, Lee Dove?
I found this deeply sad poem that Hat's penned here, where she talks about sorrow, and everything outlasts you. You know, I really thought that was kind of brilliant where she put towels will survive us, t-shirts too, things that we normally deal with every day. So many things survive on which dust is slowly falling to which we turn. So it's just, to everything, um, when death comes, even though it's deeply sad, it to me it's deeply sad because of the memories that were built between the people that you love.
Yeah, absolutely. Great comment. Thank you so much, Lee. And Zach, your thoughts?
This is a somber piece. I got the feeling that maybe I think the speaker um is viewing someone that perhaps is on their deathbed, because the light goes out in his face in a way that it kind of reminds me of death in a way. Like literally turns off the light behind his pupils, and I just like that sort of that image. It's kind of it's deeply sad. And the magpie screams right afterwards, and there's like a really bit of a contrast there. And I like how death is sort of personified as a mother, almost like, and there's like a lovingness to her, and almost like this feeling of profound mercy that is kind of embracing in a way. Um, yeah, I thought it was sad, but also there was a side to it that's quite beautiful as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, death is both tragic and beautiful at the same time. Your loved one's passing, so they're out of your life, but their t-shirts and their towels are left behind, and you can still smell them and know that they used them, and they're still with you, but the person is no longer there. Um, a shadow crossed his face, and as if someone turned the light off behind his pupils, in the distance a magpie screeched so painfully, as if my swallowed sob materialized. Wow. Just an awesome rate, Pat. Thanks so much for sharing. Yeah, beautifully done. All right.
Ah, great. I think you're on mute.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Yeah. So I'm just looking for the link here for the next rate. We have "The Rain on Our Parade," a poem by Gary Rubin. And they have an audio for this, so whenever you're ready, fill my eyes.
The Rain on Our Parade by Gary Rubin. Rain ricochets off the lake like tap dancing butter in a hot skillet. Cloudy skies put a lid on Sunday plans. Our dog Benson takes advantage of this opportunity to sleep in. His winter coat sheds black fur onto everything. A whisper of sunshine breaks through. Sunday's silent prayers answered. Pine tree branches are traffic cop waving us through. Church bell yellow daffodils ring and songbirds dance. Canadian geese frolic like school children at recess. A choir sung respite, but the rains resume, dampening our holiday weekend parade of nature.
Nicely read, Gary Rubin, and fantastic rate as well. Luyu Wild Doves, what did you think?
I thought this was beautifully penned. He said that Gary said that he took that photo in that brief respite from the continual rain. I really loved the way he describes rain in the first stanza, but it was the second stanza that I really liked. A whisper of sunshine breaks through. Sunday silent prayers answered. Pine trees, branches are a traffic cop waving us through. Church bell, yellow daffodils ring, and songbirds dance. Canadian geese frolic like school children at recess. This is just beautifully penned, beautiful imagery. I really enjoyed it, and a gorgeous, gorgeous audio.
Thank you, Luyu Wild Dove. And Zach, your thoughts?
I thought this was a really sort of pleasant depiction of life that's being like sort of I mean there's it's literally the piece is called Rain on Our Parade, so it calls back to that old adage, except this is like kind of I like how life kind of goes on despite the rain that is continually drenching every stanza. I like that that sort of that through line um sort of like consistency that every stanza has something about the rain. And there's like an evolution to it. And I just like how picturesque this sort of landscape kind of transforms underneath this underneath the rain. It becomes like this suburban sort of uh, almost like a playground for the rain to kind of like just um descend upon everything and just I like how like specific the details get, like the dog hair. I feel like it does get everywhere and it gets soaked especially when rain happens. And I just like the daffodils too and the geese. It's very picturesque, like I think I said that. Yeah, very well done.
Thank you so much, Zach. Yeah, I really liked the rain on our parade. It was such a beautiful rite. The imagery is spot on. The emotions evoked from the rain are palpable and engaging. The whole thing is just a pleasure, and the read was beautiful too. So nicely done, Gary Rubin. Oh my goodness, I don't know what's going on here. I can't seem to stop getting dropped. Um, all right. Uh, so up next we have The Silent Garret, a poem by Letters by Larry. And if you wouldn't mind reading that, Luyu, that would be wonderful.
Okay, thank you. The Silent Garret by Letters by Mary. I step into the narrow room, turn on the bare bulb. Beneath the cedar ceiling, it blinks, awake, in the temple of cobwebs and discarded furniture. I take the rusted key from the shelf. As a child, I climbed a chair to reach it and mimic these contestants of Feliz Domingo para la Juventud, fitting key into lock boxes for a trip to Bariloche. I wonder where the corroded metal leads. As the trunk opens, moth dust clogs my nostrils. I cough, touch the satin hem of a white dress that used to be my destination. On the wall, the old clock hurries me. The edge of a Polaroid cuts the center of my finger. How can old paper sting like this? My grandfather stares at me from his wheelchair. At least he doesn't chase me now. Steps on the stairs. Mom? Shh, she says, we don't talk about that. End poem.
Beautiful read, Luyu. Thank you so much. And Zach, what did you think?
Oh, I thought this was like an interesting narrative piece. I still like I don't quite know what a garret is. I have to look that one up, but I still like the progression of this. It seems like this child has stumbled into um somewhere like she had or they have like a kind of a collection of maybe their grandfather's sort of old items or and to the and I like how specific sort of the remembrances. There's like uh these some of these items. I think it's like a it might be a board game if I'm not mistaken, or an address and an old clock and a Polaroid. And then like I like how sort of the grandfather comes in and I guess he might be seeing the child and what they're like. It might be, you know, his items that the child is kind of just looking at, and it's kind of dark that I thought it was a kind of a dark sort of thing to say, like he doesn't chase me now. It's almost as if like he was too old to maybe chase after the his grandchild like he used to in a way, like in a playful, like, you know, like a sort of way, I guess. And the mom doesn't want to talk about it because who knows why. I thought that was just a really interesting way to end the piece. It kind of like it brings to it just kind of makes me wonder what's going on there and what's happening next. Really, I just have more questions, and in kind of a good way. I like having not everything answered in that respect.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, Zach. Yeah, the Garrett is such an attic or something to such. Um, so that's what a Garrett is. Uh, anyway, yeah, I like it. It's reminiscent of being a child, and finding the key and opening the chest. You're not moth dust clings to your clogs your nostrils and you cough. You touch the satin hem of a white dress that used to be your destination. On the wall, the old clock hurries me. You know, um, Hurry up, grow up, put your dress on, put your mom's dress on, and we get married because that's your role in life is to be a wife and mom. Um, but yeah, my grandfather stares at me from his wheelchair. At least he doesn't chase me now. He can't because he's in a wheelchair. So I don't know. It's an interesting rate for sure. Like you said, Zach, it's layered and rich. So nicely done. Letters by Larry. And Luyu Wildup, what did you think?
I want to congratulate her on her front page pic, 2 gold medals, a silver, and 2 emerald medals. She said that this was a dream she had. I have, dreams have all those nooks and crannies and weaves and things. You never know where they're going to take you. And because, sometimes they're mixed up with old memories. And, I really thought that this was a fantastic dream. I imagine that when she woke up, she was probably thinking what her mom meant also. So this is a wonderful poem by Letters by Larry.
Yeah, beautiful comment. Thanks so much to you. And yeah, it was a wonderful write. Thanks so much, Letters by Larry. All right, Zach. Up next we have The Summit of Solid Air, a poem by Arliste. And whenever you're ready, Zach.
Okay. This pitying night crumbles light, like wadded pieces of foil. Stars chirp with birds barely stirring. Meteors smear the sky with brushstrokes of yellow, red, and dirty white. Humpback hills cut into the blue horizon. Everything solid casts a ghostly shadow. On the firmament above it, I see only black below a translucent purple grains ground. My painter's palette turns to impasto. I gain gravitas from solid stones. I remember the time we reached the summit of Gaverne in France. Each jagged edge scratched the sky. A spray-painted sheep pen splayed across mossy circles of soil. Sheep swarmed the stone gate, moving as one undulating creature. They belly danced into a lanolin street perimeter. They bellowed for recognition. Their collective unconscious sensed death. I stumbled and tasted blood on my lip. In another life, dying meant nothing. Or, in the rocks, marked the way out. Each trek through the Pyrenees taught me a code of conduct written on the wind. Sheep think in one ba-filled loop. They meet me coming and going. They masticate a green tinged with the pink rims of their eyes. Nature begs for a narrative to resolve the drama of the haves and have-nots. I am neither, nor am I a seasoned storyteller. I chip away at the resistance of time. I read, therefore the world is another scraped up summit, another insignia of blood and poem.
Beautiful read, Zach. And really well done. What did you think?
I really love the detailed imagery here. It almost sometimes felt like he was painting, using strokes and scraping, like that man that you see on the PBS channel that paints. Um, that's what it reminded me of. And then it's just mixed in with different memories, his thoughts, when you live, especially somewhere, like he says in France, out in the country, the beautiful imagery. And, I really liked the sheep. It just sheeps think in one filled loop. They meet me coming and going. They masticate on green tint with the pink rim of their eyes, um, things that, that I remember seeing when I lived in Europe. Um, I thought this was beautifully put. I loved its imagery. And I also liked his thoughts. I wonder where they were talking about that, that they sense death, and I stumbled and tasted blood. I don't know. It almost sounds like he tripped. I'm not sure, but it was enjoyable.
Beautiful comment, Louis Waldo. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, the images are, like you said, they're like artistic and painted from that painter. I can't think of what his name is, but yeah, yeah. I mean, you could picture him just scraping the mountains and the clouds, and as you read through this, um, the summit. Um, it's so I don't know. It's artistic, right? It has all the beauty of a painting with words. So um, nicely done. But I really enjoyed. Nature begs for our narrative to resolve the drama of the haves and have-nots. I am neither, nor am I a seasoned storyteller. I chip away at the resistance of time. I read, therefore the world is another scraped up summit, another insignia of blood. Beautifully done, Arliste. And Zach, you read. What did you think?
I really enjoyed this piece. It was magnificent, particularly the setting. It just was kind of really vast in a way. It was sublime in a sense. And I like how the speaker shifts his gaze from up high. It's kind of like a bird's eye or kind of a high vantage point. And from here, the speaker is again shifting his gaze and remembering where he's been in a sense by looking where in the direction of like France or the Pyrenees or something like that, like where he's been, like he's describing certain memories to the setting, and I appreciated that. And I like how he's got like this all-encompassing view of nature from like the mountaintops, the light coming upon like the mountain and the birds to the very soil and mud itself. So I like that sort of that range that he goes for.
Beautiful comment. And yeah, range is a nice word. Thanks so much, Zach. An excellent read as well. All right. So up next we have The City, a poem by Calzo G. Tartins. And it goes like this. Walking past faces we call strangers, the city is most intimate when she's asleep, in languid hours of amber light in shuttered streets. The city speaks to me in its sleep. Tube light flickers outside 24-hour shops and the muffled hum of air conditioner boxes. The city sings to me in my sleep, in the center of the known world, where a lifetime's worth of dreams might explore before sunrise. Inside skyscrapers and apartment blocks, the cities can still be cruel even when asleep. End poem. And Zach, what did you think of the city poem?
I like there's like a really distinct sort of vibe here, like that the city has. I like how the city's not really specified. It could be really any city that really has one of those 24-hour shops or or has those muffled air conditioner boxes. I feel like every city has these sort of these sort of things like a lifetime's worth of dreams, and it's very self-contained. You have like whole lives that could happen within these cityscapes and skyscrapers and apartment blocks. And I like how especially uh, the speaker feels that he knows the city best at night. It does certainly take a different character at night for sure. Any city really, like night and day for sure. I really enjoyed this piece.
Thanks so much, Zach. Yeah, I liked it. Oh, sorry, Luyu. What did you think, Luyu?
Well, I thought it was well penned. There are certain noises that hum us to sleep. Like me when I hear the trains in the distance. I it hums me to sleep. Also like I could just imagine him being asleep in an apartment somewhere, and those blinking lights are going on and off. Um, I like those type of lighting outside shops. And he says that the city sings to me in my sleep, and I really like how he took that and um, just made it more visual. Talking about that. Also, I thought this was interesting, where a lifetime's worth of dreams might expire before sunrise. I really like that point that he brought out, and of course, I'll let somebody else comment.
Yeah, I mean, cities are a fascinating place. They're just such a bustling, hustling, vibrant city during the day with thousands of people out and about, going to work, etc., living their life. And then at night, those same streets are quiet. They're like ghost towns. Everybody's, holed up in their apartments and their houses, and the streets have this quiet, ominous, almost freeing atmosphere to them. The city at night is definitely an interesting place for sure, because there's always somebody out there. Really, there's always someone around a corner, somebody in an alley, somebody somewhere, and I don't know. Cities baffle me because I'm always baffled at how the world supports so many millions of people, billions of people, really. It baffles me that there's breakfast, lunch, and dinner for every one of those people, and yet we just keep consuming. So nicely done, Kelso, Key, Tartans. Nicely done. Alrighty, refresh my page here. All right, so up next we have To Him, a poem by Freya. If you wouldn't mind reading, please read Wild Dove.
Okay. To him, by Freya, you're asleep, while wide windows of sight draws its curtains down. Those eyes look like a feather lace of lashes on a pearly curtain. I'm a spectator of the theater of exotic arts. Your breath, like rosemary squashed in my palm, lips like baby orchid buds, hair that makes the Mustang ask itself, is its mane flaunting the sun? Close to your heartbeat, 8,000 miles from home, I turn into warm wax that pours across every broken part of you, mending the scars, replacing them with stars. Every kiss that runs through the microphone, and every word that's said to last, for all the nights to be dawned. This I shall write down in stone. I adored you long before the sensation of yourself lit fireworks inside of me. End poem.
Beautiful read, Lee. Thank you so much. And Zach, your thoughts?
I really enjoyed this piece. This is beautiful. I especially like the last three lines. I adored you long before the sensation of yourself lit fireworks inside of me. That's almost like they were preordained to be there or together, like almost like a sense of fate. And I really enjoyed that. But beyond that, I like how the speaker is kind of like a spectator of this sleeper. It's like there's like a love there, though. It's not like there's a slight voyeurism, but it's not unsettling. It's very loving, and I really enjoyed that. It's kind of like comparing the sleeper to a kind of theater. There's like a very detailed sort of seeing how the sleeper sleeps. And this is like I said before, like a very love in a very loving sort of way. It's quite touching, really.
Absolutely fantastic comment. Thank you so much. Yeah, I really enjoyed the tenderness, the love, the devotion in this. Right, there's a reverence and a respect for this person. Um, your breath like rosemary squashed in my palm, lips like baby orchid buds, hair that makes the Mustang ask itself, is its mane flaunting the sun? I mean, it's such a deeply powerful and engaging, right? Um, I really enjoyed For All the Nights to Be Dawned. That really drew my attention. And then this I shall write down in stone. I adored you long before the sensation of yourself lit fireworks inside of me. Yeah, when somebody causes you to have fireworks inside you, then that's a beautiful thing. So enjoy it while it's there and never let it go. Lee Wildup, what did you think?
I thought this was beautifully penned poem by Freya. She wrote in her author's notes, I yearn for you, like the sun begs for the ocean waves embrace. You know, this, they're saying that thousands of miles away. So I can just imagine that, it's possible that she's looking um, at him while he sleeps, and all these beautiful, soft images come through in the love and the tenderness that she feels for his likeness, his lashes, his hair, his lips while he sleeps. So obviously she's been watching him sleep. And I really love that description there. And in just she says close to the heartbeat, 8,000 miles from home, I turn to into warm wax that pours across every broken part of you, mending the scars. And that's something in a relationship, that trust where that she loves him, regardless of the pain that he's going through, and that her love will heal him, because love has the capability to do that. And she says, mending the scars, replacing them with stars. I thought that was just beautiful.
Absolutely, Lee Wildup. Wonderful comment. Thank you so much. You did a beautiful read on that, Lee. All right, up next we have Feelings, a poem by Foxy's. If you wouldn't mind reading that, Zach, please, and thank you.
Like an orchid seed in a grain of sand, like a sultry. Oh, did I say the title?
Oh, no, but that's okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry, feelings. I'll start again. I'm sorry. Feelings. Um, like an orchid seed in a grain of sand, like a sultry standing on an empty land, like a quiet drummer on a lonely band, like the only product of an unknown brand, like an icicle in the midst of raindrops, like a single weed among 100 crops, like a black dot marked on a whiteboard, like a currency of kindness with nothing to afford. End poem.
Beautiful read, Zach. Thanks so much. And Lee Wildup, your thoughts?
I really enjoyed the metaphors here, um, you know, of singularity, where sometimes, you feel alone, and like you're by yourself, and like an orchid seed in the grain of sand, um, like a soul tree standing on an empty land. Sometimes you are the only one that's left standing. So I really thought the imagery was just fabulous, and it was a great read.
Thank you, Lee Wildup. But how did you feel about the right? Anyway, I really enjoyed it too. Like feelings are a whole bag of mixed emotions, and I really enjoyed the metaphors of the feelings, like a weed among 100 crops, like a that black dot marked on a whiteboard, like currency of kindness with nothing to afford. Feelings can make us and break us. Really, feelings are what being human is about. If you don't feel, then you're not empathetic. If you're not empathetic, then you're really not living life. You're just existing. So nicely done, Foxy's. And you read it, Zach. What did you think?
I like this piece a lot. This was there was like each of these lines could almost be taken as its own separate poem, and each of them kind of roughly means something similar in the fact that like something is being mentioned as being like alone, as separate for something else, like a seed in the grain of sand, like something like something a part of itself that's like all of a sudden be like way bigger than it actually, like it becomes something a part of something greater than it actually like is, if that makes sense. Like you have the tree on the empty land. That's like it's kind of lonely. But like to be in a seed in a grain of sand, or like sand grains, like there's a kind of a togetherness too, to kind of be with those sand grains, or like an icicle in the midst of raindrops. There's still like I mean, there's still water, but one's frozen, the other's not is frozen. I like that distinction. And there's a bunch of these little distinctions that each line has. Uh, that make something, or like something very specific stand out, like a single weed among 100 crops. I just like the sort of the way that it's structured that way, so that each line kind of reads something a little bit similar. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic comment, Zach. Thank you so much. All right. Go to this group here and see what we have next. Up next, we have Currents, a poem by Blue Harrison. Now we'll give this a read. Currents. Abrasive breath. The wind blows hot and strong as the sun bows out. She stares through door glass, fretting for summer flora, lined up in burnt red pots along a brick pathway. She watches the stems dance, flinging green off like a wickedness tongued but not swallowed. Such interesting rides. Sorry, such such witnessing rises fever like colors claimed, laid onto altars of moon. She too basks, bare chested, in the darkling, licks her lips to taste the last light, stretches arms overhead, and sways unashamed, calling forth that past lover, who coyote quick tagged hard her runaway eyes, so that each moment that dances with wind howls for him. She is sweat, her need a mountain. The night eats, coyote quick, as every flower sways, and her door opens. End poem. And what did you think, Lee Well done?
I really enjoyed this poem by Blue Harrison because I live with the coyotes, and her imagery in here is just striking. She not only did she get a front page pick, but she also got a silver medal for this fabulous and well penned poem. I really liked how she sets this up. She too basks bare chested in the darkling, licks her lips to taste last night, stretches her arms overhead, and sways and ashamed. But that's so beautiful. And then it says, calling forth that past lover who coyote quick, tagged hard, her runaway eyes. Oh my, that is just, the darting of, she caught the animals personality, his nature, so that each moment that dances with wind howls for him. I really enjoyed this poem.
Beautifully said. Thanks so much, Lee Well done. Yeah, what did you think, Zach?
I thought this was an amazing sort of like naturalistic, right? I like how lively and lifelike it was. Seemed that the sun and the moon are personified somewhat, and there's like a day-night cycle. And I like that the way the speaker plays with darkness and light too, in kind of like an alternating sense. And also I like how like it seems like life, or like the course of life is personified through breath and sweat too, which are like byproducts of being alive, I think. And I like how that was described in the first and the I think the last stanza. Yeah, I like that. And sort of like the connection to nature. I really enjoyed that as well.
Beautiful comment. Thank you so much, Zach. Yeah, I like that she's so in tune with nature and the world around her. Um, like she is sweat, her need a mountain. The night eats coyote quick as every flower sways and her door opens. Is she opening the door or is her lover opening the door? Um, I don't know. I thought it was a wonderful write by Blue Harrison. Thanks so much for sharing. And congratulations on your front page pick. All right. I will go to the group here and the next write. All right. So up next we have The Paper Boat by Yumpy. And Luyu, would you mind giving that a read?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
The Paper Boat by Yempy. He's writing about Stephen King's It. The terror with which would not end for another 28 years, if it ever did, began, so far as I know or can tell, with a boat made from a sheet of paper floating down a gutter swollen with rain. The paper bled its ink to gray. The words shimmered, began to pray. Headlines hissed, local boy missing. The letters wept, the water wheezes. The storm was innocent, the world unclean. And down that curb, the gutter's sheen of oil, leaf, a candy wrap became the mouth of some dark trap. A child laughed once, the sound so sweet. Candles flicker in Elm Street sleet. He chased his boat and rain replied, whispered, come closer, come inside. The streetlight flickered, blinked, and died. The shadow stirred the gutter side. A red balloon brushed past his ear, and something ancient drew him near. A smell like copper damp with fear rose from the drain he leaned to hear. A boat spun once, then vanished whole, swallowed by a hungry, unholy soul. For what if horror, if not trust, a smile, a toy, a clown of rust? The boat went first, the boy bent near, and something smiled beneath his sneer. Years later, when the sewers wept and dairy drained but never slept, the drain still gushes through the rain. Paper cells and blood remain. Evil seldom begins with thunder. It begins with laughter and a paper boat floating toward the mouth of memory. End poem.
Beautiful read, Luyu. Well done. But yeah, this gave me chills, you know. That movie scared the hell out of me. It, you know, you got this clown who's hiding in the sewer drain, you know, and this little boy, you know, chasing his paper boat as it runs down the gutter. Um, you know, he's taken and never to be seen again. So, wow, what a take on the movie It. You know, he captures the emotion of horror quite beautifully with his right. So nicely done, Yumpy. Congratulations on this beautiful right. And Zach, your thoughts?
Yeah, this was well done. I really like the nursery rhyme cadence to this piece. You know how it's there's a sing song creepiness to it. You know, because little kids get lured into the sewer by a clown, and that's scary. Uh, yeah, I mean it's kind of an iconic beginning. It references that iconic beginning to Stephen King's It. I've read that book more times than I care to admit, but that it just it's so well crafted this poem because it not only refers to the beginning but also I mean it's just kind of it really exemplifies the character of it, you know, or lack of character, whatever you want to call it. The horror, as Gray said, and just like I like how it begins with laughter rather than with a thunder, and that's a little bit scarier in my opinion because with laughter there's a kind of a admission of trust with the person who's laughing at whatever's funny. But what if whatever's funny is actually the clown? And you know what's going to happen next. Yeah, thoroughly creepy.
Absolutely. And Luyu Wild your favorite subject is horror.
Yeah,
So,
get out of here.
how did you think?
No.
What did you think of Yumpy's Rate, Luyu Wild
Well, I love the rhyme scheme. I mean, he has a way with words. This was terrifying. I have never seen it, and nor will I ever see it. No offense. He says that this is more of a psychological thriller, and I'm not into, no offense, but when you've lived with somebody who was the Stephen King's God, you know what I mean, Gray.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not into things like that that remind me of my childhood. No, thank you. But I did enjoy reading it. I thought it's very well written without it being obviously gory. I liked how he took this more into a psychological effect of, that child and his little boat and that thing waiting for him in the bottom of the ditch with those ugly teeth. Oh my goodness. So it's well written.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Luyu Wild What a beautiful read. Okay, Zach. So we have your right next, and it's called Lunar Ash. Whenever you're ready.
All right. All that roams below the sun's watchful glare, the centerfold of the day, we're born from it, live our lives at the birth and death of light. As we roll, death-like in sleep, face the cooler, turn to the pale face of the moon's stare, ashen craters full of dust of generations. Bask in rays of the celestial lady's glow. Dark flowers bloom, coated in dripping dew, petals the color of reddened flesh bled white, that lifespans released one fragrant night, while preening jackdaws cut the scented trails, resting on the mirrored surface of a still lake. Wavers and fades, silver beams, shining rays. We teeter on edge. Waves call us from the deep, like trees soaking up light. Bare branches beg, greedy handfuls clawed from saturated skies. Likewise, yawning trenches yearn to fill with water. Empty spaces dream of filling up. We launch, cast up to stars, cast down to ground. Ashen life granted to all after settling west. Everyone their own beautiful setting sun. We burn on in a bleeding world. Death snuffs all light, dropping like flies from this bloated corpse of a rock into steaming ocean. Fiery pebbles rain on us, disintegrating until I'm reborn again in your arms. My secret longing kept me from leaving you, leaving our world cleaved in violent cycle, complicated beginnings with explosive endings, and all the knitted twine in between the binds, frayed strains at both ends of binding chains. End poem. And this was meant to represent different kinds of earthly cycles on the eve of an apocalyptic event. And in a sense, it's like meant to there's meant to be like a new beginning in like the sort of the form of like a love in a sense that like one love ends and another one begins in a way. That's what this was meant to be.
Yeah, definitely a dark, right? Lunar ash is not a good thing. It can never be good. Um, you can picture all this stuff raining down on Earth and taking lives as it does. But yawning trenches yearn to fill with water. Empty spaces dream of filling up. We launch, cast up to stars, cast down to ground. Ashen life granted to all after settling west. Everyone their own beautiful setting sun. We burn on in a bleeding world. Death snuffs all light, dropping like flies from this bloated corpse of a rock into a steaming ocean. Fiery pebbles rain on us. Wow. That's dark, brother, but beautifully written, nicely read as well. Thank you
Thanks,
so
Gray.
much. Absolutely. I knew you well, Dub. Your thoughts?
I was going to ask you, Zach, what is a jackdaw?
Oh, It's like a night bird, I think. It's like a black night bird, dark.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Yeah. That's why I had never heard of that bird before. I really like that stanza, because sometimes death can be a release,
Right.
especially if we lost someone and we're yearning to be with them again and to be reborn and to, share another life with them. Now, where you talk about, the dust of generations, where generation after generation has passed, but I like that the stanza, bask and rays the celestial ladies glow, where, death it's not always something horrible. It can be something that we go to in peace. Dark flowers bloom coated in dripping dew, pastel colors of red and flesh bled white. Their lifespan released one fragrant night, while preening jackdaws cut the scented trails, resting on the mirrored surface of a still lake. The imagery is beautiful there. Um, yeah, death is something sad, but sometimes it takes us to another place where we need to be.
Mm. Thanks, Luyu.
Great. I enjoyed it, Zach.
Yeah, what did you think? I mean, sorry. What are your what would you like to say about your poem, Zach?
Oh, yeah, just thanks for your comments, and yeah, it was just mostly about like, I guess, life cycles, and how that kind of intersects with love in a way too, and what that could lead to, and yeah, it's just like new beginnings too, and I just it's kind of dark, yeah, but like I don't know, it's there's something cool about like rebirth after all that catastrophe, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, great write, Zach. Thanks so much for sharing and an excellent read as well. All right, so up next we have Budo, and he brings us Satori. And he's got a beautiful picture on this poem with this woman, and looks like a phoenix flying above her. But she's in a long gown with a Chinese fan above her head. Anyway, this is called Satori. Flower moon beams, light rays of reticence, heralding the awakening of Haru in silken splendor. She swirls graceful ribbons, each hued in nature's womb, gifting dance consecrated of Mayako Odori, fanning the seeds anew onto sleeping lands of Nippon. As Dai Sagi cranes its feathers in faithful acquiescence, each blossom sings in harmony this festival rebirth and renewal, with eyes of Hahanaru Jayachi sighing in misty consent and foam. He's got a word list down below explaining the Japanese words. Satori is spiritual awakening. Haru is spring. Mayako Adori, cherry blossom dance. Daisagi, egret. And Hahanaru Daiachi, Mother Earth. So nicely done, Budo. I liked it. What did you think, Lee Wildup?
This is just, it's just beautiful. I really enjoyed this pinning by Budo, where it talks about this ceremony. And, he's describing this woman who's with the crane above her flying in the moonlight, and it looks like cherry blossoms that she's dancing under, and she's twirling with these beautiful ribbon dress and fan. It's just gorgeous. And, it says each blossom sings in harmony, this festive rebirth and renewal. So I thought this was just gorgeous.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Lee Wildup. And Zach, your thoughts?
I would have to agree with Liu about the gorgeousness of this piece. I like how there's like a reverence throughout, a reverence for spring and nature. And I like that the speaker is showing this through dance, sort of like a reverence of nature through dance, and almost like a higher level of appreciation appreciation for nature. Yeah, especially spring, and in a festival kind of way. And it's just it's festive, yeah, and happy too, and graceful most of all.
Absolutely. Fantastic comment, Zach. Alrighty. Just go to the group here. See what we have next. I'll refresh my page. Alright, Luyu, we have The Big Hair Day by Kathy Cross, whenever you're ready, Luyu.
Okay, thank you. The Big Hair Day by Kathy Cross. She sits beneath blue salon lights, eyes watering, nostrils burning, the citrus metal steam of half-rotten oranges. Foil petals bloom around her head, each one crinkling as the stylist folds a small hope inside, fingers moving, lifting, parting, smoothing. Her eyes drift to the mirror's edge, where a magazine cover glows with that sun-caught feathered halo every girl once tried to borrow. Under the dryer hood, the warm hum settles around her. She wonders how it might look when the foil came off. Would the light catch her hair? Will he notice the shimmer she now wears? Her hair begins to stiffen, a pale frost forming, strand by strand. The foil snaps open, cold air, a bright gasp. She leans forward, but the mirror fogs with steam, her reflection blurring, a mystery forming in the glass. She doesn't see the final reveal, only the faint shift of light as a vapor lifts. But it's there, a first frost settling, soft and new, across her shoulders.
Beautifully read, Luyu Wild Dove. And, you know, I, I remember big hair days as a kid, in the 80s. All the girls were after the big hair with frosted ends and stuff. Um, this was written for a contest called The First Frost. Capture the crunch of frozen grass and the sting of cold air in the lungs during the first sub-zero walk of the season. And she says, I didn't exactly capture frozen grass with sting of cold air. Yeah, she went with a different kind of frost. Nicely done, Kathy Cross. What did you think, Zach?
Oh, I enjoyed this piece. This kind of brings me back in a way to it brings me back to some nostalgia as well, because I used to like accompany my mom to the salon when I was a little kid. To She'd have like hair appointments, and a lot of this a lot of this imagery is very familiar to me, like the lights, and that odd smell, and the foil petals. Like all these very specific things I definitely remember. And I think that others would very much recognize this setting too. And there's like a carefulness about it too, a carefulness where that the speaker has of like taking like taking care of herself to and I like how, especially right after sort of this reveal of or non-reveal of her hair, she like walks out into the sub-zero cold, which is very like a very jarring sort of change from that like hot sweltering salon air to like something so chilly and cold. And I just sort of like that contrast and that shift. I really thought that was neat.
Thanks so much, Zach. Lee Wild, have you read it? What did you think?
Well, I thought she captured the snap of grass in here because sometimes you over dye your hair and it just snaps off. The strands will snap if you've had a bad hairdo. I thought she captured everything that goes on there. Inside a salon, the smell of burnt orange, which, that's when they're taking that, oh my God, I can't remember what it's called. It's, it's got that hydrogen peroxide smell. It just smells terrible, and you just hope that, she's hoping that the person she's interested in is going to love the beautiful highlights of her hair. So I thought that she wrote this beautifully. I enjoyed it very much. It was like going back into a salon.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, those were my days, the big hair days. I love those hairdos. All right. So up next we have, oh, sorry, I need to refresh my page. Jody Melton brings us, I do not miss the echo. Whenever you're ready, Zach, please.
I do not miss the ghost of you. I do not miss the songs that betray me in grocery store aisles, or the perfume of a stranger wears that convinces my heart for one impossible second that you've come back. I do not miss the worn out reels my mind threads through itself every night. Our first kiss, your hand in mine, the way your head gently rested between my collar and jaw. Memories are cruel, but they are only poor actors trying to play a role they'll never deserve. No, I miss the woman who stood before me with galaxies hiding in her eyes and laughter so alive it chased every dark energy out of the room. I miss looking up and finding you already looking at me. I miss the smile that always began in your eyes before your lips ever confessed it. I miss hearing my name spoken by the one voice that made it sound like it belonged to someone worth loving. People think grief is wishing for yesterday. It isn't. Grief is setting the table for someone who isn't coming, then catching yourself counting 2 cups of coffee instead of one. It's surviving another day without the one person who made survival feel like living. I don't want another sign. I don't need another dream. I would trade every memory my heart's carefully preserved for one ordinary Tuesday beside you, one conversation about absolutely nothing, one laugh that leaves your eyes watering, one absent minded touch as we pass each other in the kitchen, one chance to watch your eyes smile at me again while your laughter rushes in and fills the place inside my chest where joy once lived. Because memories never reach back, songs never hold you, ghosts never kiss you goodbye. And love, the kind of love that changes the architecture of your soul, doesn't leave an empty room behind. It leaves a hollow life where every sunrise arrives without the only face that ever truly filled the silhouette in this boy's dream and poem.
Beautiful read, Zach. And what a write. I mean, that's just heart wrenching. Lee Wildove, what did you think?
You know, I thought that Jody beautifully caught the imagery, the feelings, the everyday life, the simplicity of life can be so beautiful when you love somebody so much that just the simple things of life, that smiles and when when they're looking at you, that catches their eyes, the way that they say your name, the simple touches in the kitchen. I don't know if this person left him or they passed away, but it's deeply touching. It's beautiful in its pain. Not that pain is beautiful, but you know, to have that feeling, it leaves a hollow life where every sunrise arrives without the only face that ever truly filled silhouette in this boy's dream. To love somebody so deeply that they affect your everyday life with them not being there. And he's right. That person that you're remembering is not the same as the person that was there. Deeply heartbreaking.
Absolutely. Beautiful comment, Lee Wildove. And yeah, I mean, the absence of a person in your life is so palpable. You know, they haunt your day throughout. You smell perfume, and you think of that person. You hear a song, you think of that person. You know, they're no longer there, but they're there. Their memory lives on. Um, it's such a heart wrenching, right? Um, One chance to watch your eyes smile at me again while your laughter rushes in and fills the place inside my chest where joy once lived, because memories never reach back, songs never hold you, ghosts never kiss you goodbye, and love, the kind that changes the architecture of the soul, doesn't leave an empty room behind. It leaves a hollow life where every sunrise arrives without the only face that ever truly filled the silhouette in this boy's dream. Yeah, the connection is endearing, and the whole rate is palpable and engaging throughout. So nicely done, Jody Melton. And Zach, what did you think?
Definitely a heart wrenching, right? I like how the speaker especially misses these seemingly mundane things. I mean, they're small, but they definitely add up. You know, the little gestures, movement, sounds that echo memory. And we're back again at memory here. And like this type of memory is the absence of a person. And I think memory, my favorite aspect of this poem was how memory was described as being an imitation of the real thing, not something that's not its original self, something that's lesser from the original, almost like a copy. And that stanza is: memories are cruel, but they are only poor actors trying to play a role they'll never deserve. It's like it's often it, it, memories are often repeated, but never. I mean, but the real thing, the real thing is always that first memory, or the first time you experience it. That'll always be prominent in your head, I imagine. Yeah, I just really enjoyed this. It was very introspective. And the speakers definitely made up their mind about how they feel already about this person. It feels like nothing's going to change it. He's resolute, and I think that's okay. I think that's honestly like a kind of healing for this speaker in a sense, to be that sure. Yeah, high ranking for sure.
Absolutely. Beautiful comment, Zach. Thank you so much. And a great read as well. All right, so up next we have The Great Long Island Diaspora, a poem by Vamped Vixen. And I will give this a read. The Great Long Island Diaspora. Born and bred on bagels and Billy Joel, raised between the Bay and Corner Deli. But now I can hear my own accent, the vowel shifts, the ah of coffee when crossing the Verrazano to Long Island. But it's not Jones Beach or Fire Island that leaves saltwater trails down my cheeks, but hometown conversations still ongoing, gatherings I wish I hadn't missed, with unknown inside jokes, unheard stories, a tapestry I'm no longer woven into, my roots cut from this new nostalgia. 3 decades I spent at midnight diners, listening to seagulls above the shore, and the phantom motion of ocean waves is still felt beneath my skin. The vineyard wine lingers on my tongue, but I wonder if I can ever go home again. I went sailing from these shores when the upper class claimed our island. The city came, erecting McMansions, trampling on the throat of no man's land. Our past priced out, for sale signs placed where we once loved friends and had family, as if our history could be bought and sold. Now I pretend I took a road less traveled, and that has made all the difference. But before this diaspora, this was my home. I could draw a map of each tree-lined street and these sunny suburbs of my youth. pedal my bike to my best friend's house, show you my old high school's hallowed halls, the Port Jeff dock, where my father often set sail, and the cemetery where my parents now sleep. There was such a gilded age on this Gold Coast, a whole lifetime of pool parties, beach trips, Jimmy Suchi, D&D guest quests in our basements, conversations lingering into late nights when there was still an island left for me. But now, when I return, I live in increments of a week, listening to friends once known by heart talk of things that I will never get to share. All these beautiful plans unfolding without me for the lucky ones still rooted there, not others now scattered like driftwood into the rising sea. How can I fault them for moving on, living their lives without me, knowing that soon a day will come when the town names of Copiag, Apag, Masapuika, Patchug, Patchgu will feel foreign on my tongue, when I'll forget how to call this island home. I wish distance could be dissolved like a dream to wake me up on the LIRR after a city trip, just before the conductor's cry of next stop, Ronkonkoma, before we reach the end of the line, so there could somehow be picnics in Belmont Park again, strolls through planting fields of Boreatum, for the Montauk lighthouse to shine bright, pointing my wayward self home again. I long to return to a place I belong, but I don't know where home is anymore, and my years relentlessly march on, so I confine homesickness to its lockbox, releasing it only for 1 week a year, crying only when the way back to where I live now, in this new state, I must make my home, wondering how long until the bacon and egg and cheese and pizza slices grow stale. And as I drive south on I-95, on the radio, Billy Joel sings of how Vienna waits for me. But my question is, how long Island, Long Island will and foam? Well, what did you think, Lee Wilddove?
I thought this was a fantastic write by Matt Dixon. When where you live completely changes, like um, that Gilded Age where you knew where the parties were, the beach trip where you would go out and eat with your friends, and you would play D&D in the basement, and you would stay up all night talking, and where you would pedal your bike to your best friends, and where your high school was. But this was all taken over by people looking to erect, like she said, McMansions, where this pristine lands and all, old folks' home, where it's just regular neighborhoods turn into these condominiums, and where rich people live to be by the shores. And it's so sad because um, how many times have we seen, these old towns where the community was together just turn into these, you know, um, tourist attractions and homes for the uber rich. So this was, this, we just lived through her memories and how she can no longer go home because her home's not there. And that is just so deeply sad.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. And Zach, what did you think?
This poem takes me back to my earlier youth in a way. This before I moved to Pennsylvania, I was in Virginia. I was in a place called Woodbridge, and Woodbridge very much grew in a similar way to this place. I think it's New York. But in a way, it's just such an industrialization or a change of the speaker setting. It just definitely reminds me how my hometown was kind of transformed and into a place where a lot of people moved in, and a lot of sort of big city problems moved in with them, and I kind of had to get out of there. But anyway, this poem kind of takes that perspective and says, what if the person didn't leave? What if what if that person stuck behind? Not behind. I don't want to. That's the thing. I don't want to like imply that there's like a being behind in a sense that like because like this. I know the speaker kind of feels trapped in a sense that they are sort of feel behind because they feel like all their friends have sort of moved on. They're out of New York and doing their own thing, and you know that there's like there's unfamiliar folks moving in, and I understood that sort of that displacement, that feeling, and not being able to make any more memories there because of the change. And yeah, I mean that's sort of that's sort of emphasis on being stuck in a way, but I don't want to like I don't want to like imply that there's any sense of that the speaker's behind. That's just where the speaker happens to be in their life at the time, and I respect that.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Zach. Yeah, I mean, there's an old saying that you can never go home again because home is not the same no matter what. Like time changes everything. Um, the home that you left is no longer there. It's not the same. So you can never recapture that moment of that you had of being at home, feeling at home, because home is where the heart is. Really, you have to follow your heart and just make that your home because the home that you knew that you experienced with your friends and your family is not there because things change, and so that's what came to mind with that, right, for me. Did you get to comment on this, Lee? I can't remember.
Yes, I did.
All right, thank you so much. Alrighty, so we have words thrown, filed between sweet mesquite thorns. A poem by Luyu Wild Dove. Whenever you're ready, Luyu.
Thank you. Words thrown, fields between sweet mesquite thorns by Luyu Waldo. Sandy roads made for traveling heated asphalt lines as my mind rolls like rolling spiny tumbleweeds, moving up sunrise to blazing swirling orange marmalade sunset where thoughts disappear over mountain tops. Parched lips try to whistle a serious intent, a horse with no name, wondering, is this freedom? I chuckle, wonder where that roadrunner went off to, thinking, did the desert turquoise really hold up the aquamarine spear? Family dress disguise in summer loafy and leafy foliage, blending into Agent Orange toxin environments. Silence like getting stuffed in a closet with unused things. Only Cronkite voicing filled under my aching knees, activating soft trigger memories. So I keep walking with the stormy light striking monsoons, hoping winds take my sweltering imagery like whips the pain you backpacked, pressing pressing this oval mind into sharp edges of squares, the madness of name tiger stripes belted on my tender limbs. Water canteen dribbles, quick response. Your words planted cold bruising contemplations as sunset colored my lips in flaming sandy red, liquefying the past. I'm not your mistakes. Still smelling stiffening fabric spray on your damp camouflage in hundreds of arid steps I've swallowed in curved winds of closure. End poem.
Wow, the heart wrenching, right, Luyu Wild Dove, and a beautiful read. What did you think, Zach?
I thought this was a quite a striking piece. I was struck immediately by the first image, the sandy road kind of unrolling, like a tumbleweed, and I was struck by that. It brings I just kind of like that desert atmosphere, and I like how especially there's like that aquamarine and turquoise that's sticking out in the desert. I thought that was very vivid because you could kind of see that in the midst of like sort of the sameness of the desert, the blue that just really sticks out. And I got the feeling that the speaker was contemplating something very heavily in a sense, almost like a compartmentalization or remembrance of certain things. That there was like a very like a set like a very like a harsh sense of remembrance, almost like something had happened, and it's not quite hinted. It's hinted at what it is. I think like some of it's sharply remembered in the sense that maybe some of it was painful, but I think it's still necessary to kind of under like to kind of examine those feelings. And I think that the speaker kind of equated feeling those feelings, like feeling of those feelings among nature. It was especially, it feels cathartic to kind of blend the two, and I really enjoyed that.
Beautiful comment, Zach. Thank you so much. Yeah, this speaks to me of so being in love with somebody who's damaged and has damaged you in that loving, you know, love hurts and the pain is palpable throughout this rite. Like you said, it's cathartic in a way, but water canteen gribbles, quiet response. Your words planted cold, bruising contemplations as sunset colored my lips in flaming sand, red, sandy red, liquefying the past. I'm not your mistakes, still smelling stiffening fabric spray on your damn camouflage and hundreds of arid steps I've swallowed in curved winds of closure. Yeah, the pain is palpable throughout this rite. Beautifully done, Lee. Would you like to say anything about your poem, Lee?
Yeah, I wrote in my author's notes, not everyone who comes back from wars are the same. Some traumatized and become violent, leaving families to deal with the abuse. And, that it's the long desert roads, that was cathartic, that I found healing, and then to finally realize that I wasn't what you said I was, that I wasn't your mistakes, so it's a personal right.
Yeah, you can feel it. Thanks so much for sharing, Lee Wild Up, and a great, beautiful read as well.
Thank you.
All right, Zach, we have Earth Smoke Ascending, a poem by Fountain Pen, whenever you're ready.
Earth smoke ascending masks the sky that changes of blue. It falls as it flees. The touch of stars once bright like happy eyes recruits an army of raged clouds, bleak darkness that breaks through you in acid rains. Your breaths discolored, shredded umbrellas try to shield you from a beast, spitting toothed fireballs. They pierce through your skin until smoothed by flesh and bone and never admit defeat. Before Phoenix ashes, they burn again a feathered soul that prays for death, the death that doesn't come. End poem.
Wow, beautiful read, Zach. And Lee Wild Up, what are your thoughts on this poem?
She has such sharp imagery in here. It just talks about something that somebody's going through that's painful, because she says that your breath discolored, shredded umbrellas try to shield you from a beast of spinning tooth fireballs. I don't know if she was protecting somebody. Um, they pierce through your skin until smooth by flesh and bone and never admit defeat. Like sometimes some of the things that you can tell somebody can just, cut through your skin. Um, and it says, and never admit defeat before Phoenix ashes, just standing by what you believe in, And then it says they burn again a feathered soul that prays for death, the death that doesn't come. Having to constantly deal with something that is so difficult and possibly abusive. It sounds verbally abusive. And that smoke, it just doesn't stop burning, because it just doesn't stop. At least those are my thoughts.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I kind of got the abuse aspect out of this, your breath's discolored, shredded umbrellas try to shield you from a beast spitting tooth fireballs. That's such a impactful stanza. I think it kind of holds that tone throughout the right. It's I don't know. It just speaks to me of abuse and suffering through the abuse and trying to protect yourself, trying to protect your family from the abuse that's occurring. So beautiful rate, Fountain Pen. Thanks so much. And Zach, your thoughts?
Yeah, I got also similar feelings of abuse, like, because words do hurt. Um, and I got this it was kind of devastating, this sense of waiting for a death that doesn't arrive, that something could be so painful in a sense that you'd be wishing for death. I mean, after all this violent imagery, especially it's almost not surprising that someone would wish for maybe a way out in a sense, even that. So that's kind of devastating realization. But I still, like, there's a sense of not admitting defeat in the second to last stanza. Despite all of this abuse, there's like a kind of a not willingness to acquiesce to it, because there's like a resilience and the phoenix imagery. Perhaps there's like a reference to being like resurrected, in the sense that despite those hurtful words, that part of them will always like never be able to be kept fully down, in a sense, that sense of like the individual is still there. So I still got a sense that that person is still there despite being hurt, unfortunately. Very well done piece.
Absolutely. Great comment. Thanks so much, Zach. Um, Beautifully done. All right. So up next we have A Child Exploring Circles, a poem by Good Sai A. I will read this. As a child, I wrote my first letter, a circle, on white paper, with crayons, with hands and feet dipped in rainbow paint, drumming on the floor and sketching rings, in a dance rehearsal for letters yet to be learned. Soon, letters connected into fluid sentences that unlocked my blank mind, sparking an inward pilgrimage in search of paragraphs to fill my diaries with smudged pages, confessing my feelings, my dreams, my secret crushes. Books I hid in drawers, awaiting for my children to find. When the dot of life began, when the dot of life I began comes full circle and poem. And the author's note says, Andrew Lawson, this word is your writing. Psalm 47. Yeah. What did you think, Lee? Well done.
Well, I really loved how, she went from the small child that evolved to making circles and then going to school and sketching and, you know, learning to read, um, in dance rehearsal for letters yet to be learned, and how she says that this unlocked her mind and that she wrote books and, she left a legacy for her family, for her children, and for her grandchildren to find the books that she hid in drawers, waiting for my children to find, where she wrote about her life. And she says this all began when you know, when the dot of life I began comes full circle. I thought this was just gorgeous, just wonderfully penned.
Beautiful comment. Thanks so much, Lee. Yeah, I liked it. I mean, really, all language written starts as a dot, and then that dot is transformed into lines, and those lines are transformed into words, etc. So I really like the thought of a child exploring circles because that is the that's the origin, the beginning of all words is a circle, a dot, and I thought it was beautiful. And your thoughts, Zach? What did you think?
Yeah, I thought this was a beautiful piece too. I enjoyed how it was like a snapshot or a very specific moment in a speaker's life. And this dot that the speaker made, it's a very special moment. It's not just any old dot. This is like the essentially the origin or the backstory to the speaker's sort of affiliation with the written word, it seems, and a literal starting point or like a point A that leads to all the point B's and C's of books and passing on that sort of knowledge to children and grandchildren and that sort of thing. I really enjoyed this piece.
Fantastic comment, Zach. Thank you so much. All right, up next we have Wine and Dogs, a poem by T. Manzano. And there's an audio for that whenever you're ready, Phil.
Wine and dogs. 3 dark red, somewhere staining quartz. The kind Clorox doesn't recognize. Scrubbing until the hands go numb. Or maybe they were numb to start. My stairs are carpeted, but the rhythm is wrong, closely affixed, out of step. My gait argues with my feet, catching toes while an arm rises, steady, spilling nothing. Automatic, really, I drink that much. Tonight's light is a flicker, an essentialized hum. CNN acts as a nightlight, or a warning, or maybe neither. This black t-shirt is a mistake, for the laundry ruining the whites tomorrow, but tomorrow is a long way off. Alexa, dim the bedroom. Half, then halved. I can still see the shapes of things. I can see the wish of being on your mind. A draft pushing through glass that should be sealed. Maybe tomorrow. The dogs. I'll take them where the grass is hard yellow and angry. The ground doesn't want us there. Geese will chase us, hissing, pissed off. We'll laugh because there's nothing else to do when something is finally coming for you. I know the dogs are laughing. I can't hear it, but we run at the same time. We stop at the same time. A single, shaking thing. A shared instinct to be anywhere but here. Wanting to leave all of this at the exact same moment. So maybe the duck's next, but we're never bringing bread. We're never bringing anything we're supposed to again.
Well, beautifully written, T. Manzano. What did you think, Luyu Wilder?
This is to me somebody who cares and in some way doesn't care. Where I don't know if his rhythm is off because he's been drinking wine and he's out of step, but he gets caught and he says that he drinks that much, and he says tonight light is a flicker and essential hum. CNN acts as a night or a morning or maybe neither. This is going through his life, that how he goes through the day with his dogs, and where he's unsettled. He doesn't want to be where he's at. Where he says, where was it? I know the dogs are laughing. I can't hear it, but we run at the same time. We stop at the same time. A single shaky thing, a shared instinct to be anywhere but here, wanting to leave all of this at the exact same moment. When you come to that thought that that is just not where your life is at or where you want to be. I found this very interesting. I'm going to have to reread it. It's very captivating.
Well said. Thank you so much, Luyu. And Zach, your thoughts?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. This piece overall speaks to me in the sense of like there's a real sense of dissatisfaction or uneasiness throughout, and it's particularly evident in the first stanza. Because there's a certain amount of dissatisfaction about that wine stain that just can't be scrubbed out by that Clorox, and there's like a frustration and not out like a not knowing what to do next, almost like a boredom, but not quite. There's like an like unsure, this unsureness, and it's like not like the speaker just doesn't quite know what to do with themselves in a way, and uh, there's like not a surefootedness, but more like just kind of like in a sense like in a date it's like almost like in a way that that speaker maybe woke up and on it felt kind of off about some things and just maybe kind of rolled with that sort of mindset the rest of the day. um and in a sense that I've yet to figure some of this out, but yeah, it's I'm a little bit perplexed by the ducks at the end. That kind of that seemed a little bit cool, like random, but cool in a sense. Like you're like the willingness to go see the ducks, but not to feed them, not to bring the bread. I wonder what that means. I like the way that ends though. For some reason, I like it.
Oh, sad. Thank you so much, Zach. Yeah, I really enjoyed the write thoroughly. You know, the whole thing was engaging. You know, the imagery was spot on. Um, you know, uh, I like that he and the dogs are on the same level. You know, ready to run and escape the geese and the ducks and you know life in general. But nicely done. All right, Lou. Up next we have uh, Frozen Map, poem by Letters by Larry. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. It kicked me off the site. Hold on a second. Okay. Frozen Map by Letters by Larry. Your scars are mapped in frozen lines, quiet vessels of your decay that keep you apart and sheltered in a cage you were like a home. I traced their edge against the chill. My fingers chart a new way through the pulse that ticks beneath the frost, meeting the quiet thaw you hide. You melt like gold in winter's warmth. My hands, the heat that burns and heals. Voices like velvet wrapped in smoke, breathing what longing never speaks. My touch rewrites the skin it knows, a body bare to bud and bloom, like slow undressing up full moon. Desire dissolves with silite in home. Oh, and they
Beautiful
wrote this
read.
with, yeah, this was a collaboration. She wrote this with Christoph.
Beautiful comment. Thanks so much, Steve. Um, yeah, what did you think, Zach?
I thought this was an interesting piece. I like how, despite the winter, the feelings of winteriness or the coldness of it, there's still like this heat that permeates. Um, that seems to be healing the speaker who's scarred, obviously. So there's like a sort of like a healing quality to the piece that I like, and it seems like the speaker is kind of just healing in a sense through through breathing and by just sort of communing with nature in a way. It's kind of raw in a sense. I really enjoyed it.
Fantastic comment, Zach. Thanks so much. Yeah, you know, I like that the person is made into a map of frozen lines, quiet vessels of your decay that keep you apart and sheltered in a cage you wear like a home. And then, you know, somebody comes along, traces their edges against the chill. Your fingers chart a new way through the pulse that ticks beneath the frost, meeting the quiet thaw you hide. Beautiful collaboration, Christoph and Letters by Larry. Luyu, what did you think?
I thought this was beautiful work by both of them. I loved how you can, the scars that somebody has that we carry with us. You know, she describes it. It says you were like a cage, you were like a home. And, and then she says, I traced the edge against the shell, my fingers chart any way through. And then it talks about because of this love, this kindness to this person who's been damaged, says that you melt like gold in winter's warmth. I thought that line was so gorgeous. My hands, my hands and heat that burns and heals. The power of love and the power of hands that, when you touch somebody and you the inner scars are being traced. And I liked it. It says it was like this, the slow undressing of full moon. Desire dissolves into twilight. I thought that was just gorgeous, emotionally satisfying.
Absolutely. Well, that's it for the show. I'd like to say beautiful night, everybody. Thank you so much, Zach. Thank you so much, Luyu. Beautiful show, Luyu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, y'all. Great time. Great time.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Always
Thank you
a
for
pleasure
calling
having you
in,
guys.
Zach. Yeah, we always
Oh,
love having you. Thank you for
thank you.
calling in and sharing your comments and your reads. It's just fabulous.
Great to be here as always.
Loved having you. And thank you, Gray.
You
And
betcha.
Fill My Eyes. Wouldn't be able to do all this stuff without her. So thank you for your help.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, you guys have a nice week, and I shall see you next Monday.
Sounds good.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
you come and visit us, Zach.
Sounds good. Night, y'all. Take care.
Okay, take
Good
care.
night, Zach. Good night,
Love you
Luyu.
guys. Bye bye.
Love you too. Bye.